Assalamu alaikum. In this lecture, we will discuss syllable. By now, we are familiar with the concept and terminology of phonology and phonetics, and we have already talked about segment and vowels and consonants. By now, we should be clear about the difference between consonant and vowel. Moving forward to suprasegmental features, moving beyond segments, there are lots of other factors that matter and are of significant importance in phonetics and phonology. For that, we have to move forward from the concept of consonants and vowels to learning what is a syllable, okay, and how different sounds are produced accordingly. All right, let's see. What is a syllable? You might have already heard this term, and in our previous classes, when we broke down words, we already talked about this term. Let's see the definition. I want a unit of sound consisting of a vowel or vowel-like sound, an optional consonant before and after the vowel. Okay, so it is a structure that has a vowel or a sound like vowel, in which, in the case here, we would say it's semi-vowels. Okay, that we already have discussed. So a sort of sound which is similar to vowel. Okay, and then it can have a consonant or it cannot because of the word optional. Okay, so when we see the examples, we will discuss that some syllables do have a consonant and some syllables can be without a consonant, but it is necessary for them to have a vowel. Okay, let's see. The most common type of a syllable in language also has a consonant before the vowel. Okay, so the most common or most typically occurring syllables, they have a consonant before the vowel. Okay, and is typically represented as C and V. That means a consonant which is followed by a vowel. Technically, the basic elements of the syllable are a onset, one or more consonant followed by the rhyme. Okay, so this is the main idea that we already discussed, that a typical syllable has a consonant and then a vowel. So the consonant part of the syllable is called onset, and it has one or more consonants and then followed by a rhyme. Okay, and when we would see that a rhyme consists of a vowel. A rhyme sometimes written as rhyme. Okay, so it can be written as rhyme or rhyme. It consists of a vowel which is treated as the nucleus. Okay, so in a syllable we would have a consonant which is followed by a rhyme, and rhyme is the vowel, and the vowel is often called nucleus. Like here we can see this is a typical syllable. It has an onset and then rhyme. Okay, and rhyme has a nucleus which is in, like here it is a vowel. Okay, and then we also have a coda here. Any following consonants of the nucleus described as a coda. So if there is another segment in the syllable after a nucleus, after a vowel, then that is termed as a coda. Okay, like for example, there can be any other consonant. For example, here the word cat or skin. So it has one onset, that is k sound. Then the remaining part of the syllable is called rhyme, at. Okay, and where a is the nucleus and t is the coda. Okay, for example, we have so many syllables that are only based on onset and a nucleus. For example, so, t. Okay, so in that case, the first consonant is the onset and the second vowel is the nucleus. This is not the necessary distribution of a syllable always, but this is the most typical distribution of a syllable. A syllable, like, as I give you an example, me, this is one word or one syllable. To or no have an onset and a nucleus, but no coda. Okay, as I told you that in these cases it has ma and e sound. Okay, so ma is ma here. This is an onset, and a e here is a nucleus. Similarly, these are other examples, and these type of syllables are called open syllables. When a coda is present, as in the syllables up, cup, ate, or had. So these type of syllables, we see that first we have a vowel and then they are followed by a consonant. In such a case, when the consonant follows a vowel, those are called closed syllables. Okay, now you can think of some other examples for open syllables and closed syllables. You need to remember that these are not syllables are not necessarily words in themselves. They can be part of the words. Okay, when we break down the words, we see that we have different syllables. For example, here, nucleus. Okay, so there could be multiple syllables in a word. Okay, moving forward, we have consonant clusters. A consonant cluster in a word is a group of consonants with no vowel between them. Consonant cluster very often occur, very commonly they are found, okay, but not so always. But we see that in a syllable there will be two merging sounds of consonants together without vowel between them. Okay, for example, we see a typical word, for example, consonant. So we see there is k sound, then we have a vowel sound, then n, s, these two consonants come together, right? Then we have O sound, but then we would have a vowel sound between them. Okay, so here we see this is two consonants coming together, group. Okay, so two consonants coming together. This is called a consonant cluster. Then we would have different type of consonant cluster which would occur together, and then certain consonants which would not occur together. Okay, like here. Both the onset and the coda can consist of more than one consonant. Okay, so it is not necessary that they would come at the end or at the beginning. It could vary accordingly, right? So onset can have a consonant cluster as well as coda can have a consonant cluster. The combination of s and t, okay, these two sounds, two consonant sounds coming together is a consonant cluster, CC. Okay, so it would be defined as CC because two consonants are coming together. Typically, we see we have the structure of C and V, but here we have C and C. Okay, two consonants coming together. It is a consonant cluster. Used as an onset in the word stop, as a coda in the word post. So this is the same consonant cluster we can see in this word stop. It is occurring as the onset. It is coming in the beginning, and in the different word post is the same consonant cluster of S and T, and it is coming at the end of the word as a coda. Okay, so we see this is one syllable. This is O is the nucleus, and S and T is coming as consonant cluster. I hope it is making sense and how the structure of a syllabus follows. We have one onset, the beginning sound, then we have the rhyme, okay, and rhyme is broken down into nucleus and coda. Nucleus is always the vowel sound, and coda is the following or closing consonant. Okay, and consonant clusters are two or more consonants coming together. The longest possible cluster in English is three consonant sounds. Okay, so it is saying that in English it is only possible to have three consonants together, and there could be multiple examples. Let's see here at the beginning. Splash. So these first three consonant sounds are occurring together. Okay, and at four at the end. So in the beginning we can have three consonants together as a cluster, and at the end we have four. Like here, la, fa, and tha. Okay, la, tha, fa, sa. 12ths. So we see that these are four consonants coming together in a cluster. The tongue twister. Okay, here is an example of a tongue twister. The sixth, twisty crisp, has several consonant cluster, which makes it difficult to pronounce. Because we know that vowels are the words that are produced without any obstruction, and they basically help us to pronounce frequently. Okay, all these words which have a consonant and then a vowel, these are the words that we can pronounce frequently and easily. Okay, so whenever we have words, consonant cluster in a word, like here, 12ths. So it requires a little bit more effort because there's a little bit more obstruction of air. That's why it is a little bit difficult to pronounce. Okay, so for example, a tongue twister like this, which have several consonant clusters like here, sa, tha, twist, here, t, sti, Okay, so all these consonant cluster, maybe two consonants coming together, they make it difficult to pronounce. Okay, you can find some more examples for consonant clusters and how many consonant clusters can you find. Okay, a dot is used to divide syllables in accordance with the current recommendations of IPA. However, it is not used where a stress mark, okay, occurs. So we see if we have this kind of a symbol or this kind of a symbol, okay, so I and this, this is increasing stress. Okay, and then there could be other examples where this mark is used here below a sound, okay, below a phoneme. So in that case, it would be reducing stress. So these are the marks of stress. Okay, we would be learning and talking about them in detail when we will discuss stress and intonation. Okay, how a syllable is stressed and other is unstressed. Okay, so we see, for example, if there is any word, I told you a word can have multiple syllables. So each syllable is divided by this dot. Okay, this is IPA recommendation and IPA ideal way of writing. Okay, so a dot, it is used to divide syllables. So this is one word syllable. It has three syllables. One dot and other syllable, dot and other syllable. Then there is this is other word develop. It has two syllables, one syllable. We have a dot and another syllable. All right. So this is how we divide between different syllables in a word. Okay, this is another concept that is related to syllable and its pronunciation. This is called co-articulation. It is the process of making one sound almost at the same time as the next sound. So we see it is related to consonant cluster as well and how we co-articulate certain sounds. It is to say that how one sound influences another sound in its presence. Okay, so co-articulation can be of two types, assimilation and elision. Assimilation is a type of co-articulation in which two sound segments occur in a sequence and some aspect of one segment is taken or copied by the other. Okay, so in this case, one sound, it changes itself in the presence of another sound. Okay, we've already discussed this concept that how certain sounds can change how they are realized in certain environments, in certain contexts. Okay, by environment or by context here, we mean that the surrounding sounds, how the surrounding sounds influence that particular sound. Okay, so if one sound is changed in presence of one other particular sound, that is called assimilation. So assimilation is a type of co-articulation because there is necessary for assimilation to have two sounds because one sound would influence another sound. That is called assimilation. Okay, so here is an example. I have to. So these are the three words. When we say them frequently or in speed, it is often pronounced as have to. I have to. Okay, so the sound here, if pronounced separately, I have to. Okay, so when they are pronounced together, have to. So ver sound is changed. Okay, the ver sound is changed its behavior to fur sound. Okay, so there is a change of the sound because of the certain environment, because of co-articulation. So I have to is pronounced as have to. Okay, so there is a fur sound, slight fur sound. I have to. Okay, this is called assimilation. You can find out or think of some other examples how certain sounds change in presence of or in context of in environment of certain other sounds. Okay, next in co-articulation is elision. Elision is another type of co-articulation. It is the process of not pronouncing a sound segment that might be present in the deliberately careful pronunciation of the word in isolation. So elision is a type of co-articulation. That means there would be two sounds that would be coming together, but in the case of elision, one sound is omitted at all. Omitted means missed out. Okay, so it is not pronounced. So that sound is particularly missed out, omitted, or not pronounced. Okay, when does that happen? It happens very frequently. For example, you and me. Okay, when we say these three words separately, how do we pronounce these? You and me. Okay, but when we have to pronounce them together, we say you and me. Okay, we do not pronounce the. You can try that if you pronounce these in speed and frequently together. Okay, you will pronounce it as you and me. Okay, we would not say the sound because because of so many reasons. Maybe it is not an ideal consonant cluster situation. Maybe it is easy to pronounce. There could be lots of reasons behind co-articulation, but it is how it happens. Two sounds, when we are making two segments of sounds together, okay, there is a kind of influence on the next sound. So this process is called co-articulation, how one sound is influenced by other sound. So there will be two types of co-articulation. One is assimilation, another is elision. And what is the difference between assimilation and elision? In assimilation, one sound is influenced by another sound and it is changed to something else. In elision, we completely miss out that sound and we do not pronounce a particular sound. Like in this example, we miss out the. Okay, you can think of certain examples for assimilation and elision. If you have any questions from this topic, you can write in the comment or note down on your note paper, and then we will discuss in the live section. Thank you.